The Queen of Granada, by M. Z. Rita. The book. Tuba had not yet regained his memory and recovered from the subsequences of his unfortunate crash down the cliffs at the bridge. However, he was able to play the guitar, as before his accident, as if he had saved the melodies in his heart, instead of in the brain. He had slowly begun to put the pieces of the Land Rover together. He had dragged it to a workshop, where he was allowed to repair it on his own. The workshop belonged to one of his acquaintances and he gave a hand when they needed an extra man. In return, he was allowed to use the place and the tools when he had to repair the Land Rover. The Volkswagen, on the contrary, didn't need any repair. He had rebuilt it into a camper and removed its engine to cut down its weight and thereby reduce the Land Rover's fuel consumption when they were out on the roads. Otherwise they had parked the Volkswagen at the house and used it as a guest apartment. It was the energy crisis that had made people inventive. Nuria and Pal had started their kindergarten and school. Rita had helped Pal to make his bicycle puncture-free. Tuba, who did not at first believe it, stood and looked curiously, as Rita cut the sides of the old and worn tire with scissors and put it like a strip between the tube and the new tire. He transferred Rita's idea to the Land Rover and so far it seemed to work. Rosen was busy with the clients and allowed Rita to join her in the sessions and learn from her. After all, she had to run the place when Rosen was out of the house to perform ceremonies at birth, funeral and everything between heaven and earth. She was allowed to peruse Rosen's medical and nursing books and look up in her recipe booklets, when she had to mix and cook herbal medicine. One morning, while they were busy washing the dishes, she said to Rosen, "I have the impression that all of your Roma clients visit us with health problems, whereas Spaniards and tourists come with cases dealing with nightmares, fortune-telling and the like." Rosen responded, "It is quite true. Spaniards and tourists already have access to a health system that can meet their basic needs. Therefore, their cases compared to the Romas are luxury problems." To tease Rita, she added, "Most of the houses around here are actually caves, carved in limestone. They have once served as entrance to the catacombs under the city. It doesn't surprise me at all that people around here so often see ghosts and have nightmares. However, only the tourists and Spaniards can afford to visit me about it." With an inquisitive expression in her face, Rita asked, "What do you mean by catacombs?" Rosen answered, "A place where people until a few years ago used to deposit the bones of their deceased." She pointed at the floor under Rita's feet and added, "You are standing right on the hatch to the stairs that go down there. I've been down there a number of times. There are bones and skeletons everywhere. If you like, I can find the flashlight. Then we can take a look down there immediately." Rita didn't really know what to say. Although she wasn't actually afraid of the dark, she still did not want to come face to face with a skeleton with hollow eye sockets in the dark. On the other hand, she had to overcome her fear of bones and skeletons, if she would one day work as a medicine woman and take care of people's bad dreams. At that moment, the day's first client knocked on the door. While Rosen took off her apron, she said, "We can do it another day. I have to hurry and get dressed. If you please open the door." The black cat, Espanto, lying on one of the chairs, got reluctantly up, went sauntering across the kitchen floor towards the door to VW bus to lie down there. The day began and went on as it used to. At night Rita could not fall asleep. She lay in bed in the Volkswagen and turned one way and the other. She could not break away from the idea that there apparently was a city under her bed which housed the skeletons. To her, it seemed strange that people buried their dead under the ground and expected that they would come up to heaven. She had heard that in some countries around the Himalayas they dismember the corpse and feed it to the vultures, so the deceased had a greater chance to come up in the sky. Despite the fact that she was afraid of having bad dreams, she finally fell asleep. Luckily, the nightmares didn't occur. In return, she had bad dreams in the bright daytime. She simply did not dare go over the hatch in the kitchen floor. It seemed as if the skeletons would suddenly lift up the hatch, grasp her ankle and drag her down into the catacomb. Even the slightest creaking sound of the planks under her feet was enough to get a shiver to run down her spine and to make her freeze on the spot and sharpen her ears.